Hello everyone, welcome to our moral science class. Hope you all are studying at home. Please take care of yourself and study as you were studying in the school. So let's start with a new lesson from our moral science book. It is the fifth lesson of our moral science book, and the name of the lesson is Our Duty Towards Ourselves. Since in the previous chapters we have learnt about our duties towards God, towards our parents, towards our friends, and towards our government. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn how a person should take care of his physical as well as mental health. Physical health means keeping ourselves healthy, and mental health means having a good and a sound mind. And how can we have a good mind? When we will have a good character, a good name, and pure thoughts, and kind deeds also. Because our body is a temple of God, and this life is given to us by God. So, it is our duty to keep our body, mind, and soul pure by having a good character, a good name, and kind works. So, in order to love and appreciate everything around us, we should learn to love and appreciate our own self. First, we should love ourselves. And the danger here does not lie in not loving ourselves too little, but in loving ourselves wrongly. What is the danger in loving ourselves is that we love too much to ourselves, but we should love ourselves correctly. How is that possible? It is possible for us to desire and seek only what is pleasant. It doesn't mean whatever you see, whatever you hear, that only you should like. This is not the way the God wants us to be. Man should take care of his physical well-being. A man should be physically fit by keeping his body healthy. And how a man can be mentally healthy? A man can be mentally healthy by having good and pure thoughts in his mind, by doing good works, good deeds in his life. So, by making an effort towards having a good and sound mind makes a man mentally healthy. It is not easy to find a person who remains firm and good even when he is falsely accused. What happens sometimes we are blamed of the faults which we have not done. That time a mind it judges the mind what kind of a person you are, what kind of situation you are facing, and what is your reaction, how you are reacting on the situation. Are you accepting the blame or not? So people often get discouraged whenever they have trials, whenever they have bad times, they are very much discouraged or disappointed. And for this you need a moral backbone. Now backbone doesn't mean our physical backbone which we are having in our body. See, there are many children who are good in many things, like in studies, in games, in dancing, in painting, and many other talents. Students have many talents, and even the people, they have many good qualities in them, but they do not know how to react in the bad times. So they get discouraged, they get disappointed, and they are very much sad. So yet they may have this moral backbone. They should have this moral backbone. This moral backbone is a willpower. It is a firm and stable mind which we should have, so that we can have pure thoughts in our mind. We can be stable and firm in the bad times or in the time of trials. We do not speak here of the backbone in our bodies that helps us to stand erect. Now, what is the function of a backbone in our body? It helps us to stand erect, stand straight. We can be straight. But here we are talking about the backbone, which is a strong willpower and a firm character. So here is one story given in this chapter. By this story, we will understand the chapter better. This story is of a boy named Dominic Savio who lived in Italy in the last century, and he later on became a pupil. Pupil means a student of the great educator Don Bosco. So he became the student of Don Bosco, and after his death, this boy Dominic Savio, after his death, he was declared canonized, means declared as a saint of the Catholic Church. And here is an incident in this chapter from his school life, which shows the good qualities of a great person. So he's sharing his one incident from his school life when he was a small boy. He's telling this small incident about his life to give an example of a great person, how a person can be great. So here the story starts. The school hall at Mondonia was in gloom. Gloom means very sadness. The atmosphere that day, the atmosphere of the school was very sad. The boys, the children were very much depressed. The boys sat at the desks in silence, and all the boys were sitting in the very silently. Why? The headmaster was fuming with rage. Means the headmaster of that school was filled with anger. Never in their small lives had the boys felt so tensed. Never in their life all these students were so much tensed, so much depressed or discouraged. What had happened? Someone had come to school early and put some stones into the heater in the classroom. Now there was a heater in the classroom since it was the winter season and it was too much cold. It was bitterly cold. So some students, they came early to school, and what they did some mischievous things. They misbehaved in the school. What they did, they put some stones in the heater. And second thing what they did, somebody had scribbled on the blackboard, as you can see it in the picture. Many students do in the school. When the teacher is not there in the class, they scribble on the blackboard, they write something, they draw something. So some students have drawn something or scribbled on the blackboard. Who had done it? Now some boys, they said, they blamed Dominic Savio, who generally used to come to school early. So some students have blamed Dominic Savio for this mischievous thing, and he seemed to have acknowledged his guilt by remaining quiet. And what was the reaction of Dominic when some students were blaming him? He was quiet and silent. He did not utter a single word. So Savio was considered good. The headmaster considered him as a very good boy, a charming and pious. Pious means holy, that he was a good boy. He was very sincere. But now he was thinking that he is a hypocrite. Hypocrite means he was pretending to be good as he is not good. So now some students in the class were feeling very bad, very sad, and they were feeling very sorry about Dominic. But some were rather pleased. Some students were feeling very happy. Why? Because Dominic was being scolded by his headmaster. So Dominic was not after all so wonderful. Savio, come here. Now the headmaster shouted at him. He called him near to the table. And what did Dominic do? Dominic quietly moved to the front of the big desk and he stood beside the principal, keeping his eyes down and bowed his head, and his face was pale, like white pale. And the boys, what did the headmaster tell to Savio? That it is a very disgraceful, very shameful thing for our school that you have done such kind of mistake. And why the headmaster was so much angry with this Dominic? Because he loved him. He was a very good and a very sincere boy, and he always gave the example of Dominic. He told the students as if Dominic was a role model to other students. So he was giving the example of Dominic to other students. And now by doing this mistake, the headmaster was thinking that this boy Dominic has let his name down. So he was feeling very angry. The headmaster was shouting at Dominic. And now Dominic was very much disappointed, discouraged, but he did not utter a single word. He did not say a single word to anyone, though he felt that his friends have blamed him for doing nothing, but still he kept quiet. And he said, in his heart, he said, "Yes, my dearest God." He kept on repeating these words beneath his heart. Under his heart, in his mind, he was repeating these words. And the next day, first half of the next morning, everything went on in the same way, whatever was happening yesterday. Then But when the boys trooped in, when the boys came in the class after the mid morning, after half of the day of the activities went on, they found something was missing. In the middle of the room, there was a line of their companions, students, their classmates, and they were the usual set of boys, the same boys who were making troubles, who were creating troubles in the class. But when Dominic came inside the class and saw them standing there, his face flushed crimson. Crimson is the name of the color. So his face turned red because of discouragement or disappointment. When everybody was settled, when all the students sat on their respective places, the teacher again called Dominic affectionately, lovingly. Now this time the teacher was not angry. Lovingly, the teacher, the headmaster, called him to the near the table. Dominic, come here. And he was speaking with a strange kindness to the boy. Now this time he was very kind and gentle to the boy, and this thing surprised Dominic. He was very much embraced and surprised how the teacher changed. He came hesitatingly out of his place and he came near the headmaster. And once more, he was standing before the teacher's desk. Now, what did the headmaster tell him? Dominic, my child, why didn't you tell me? Now, the teacher, the headmaster, inquired everything, what all happened, what about the mischievous thing the students had done. The teacher inquired about it, and then the headmaster came to know about the truth. So he found that Dominic was innocent. He has not done anything. It was not his fault. For a moment, the boy stood silently. Then he raised his head and looked straight into the teacher's eye. For a moment, the boy was standing quietly, and then after, when the teacher stopped speaking, he looked into the eyes of the teacher and said, "Sir, I was sorry for these boys. I knew this mistake is done by these boys, but I knew that when the truth will come out, they will be expelled. You will remove them from the school. But as for me, I was thinking, if it was my first mistake, you will not expel me. You will not remove me from the school." And this was the greatness of a true and good individual, a good and patient person who's having so much patience. Though he knew he has not done any mistake, but still he was quiet and accepting the mischievous things. Thus, our main duty towards ourselves is to display a true strength of character. So, we should make a very good character at the time of crisis also. Even if we are facing difficult times, we should keep a good character that can be a role model for others. And so, we can become good example for others also. We should not be cowed down by problems. We should not be discouraged when the problems are coming in our lives. We pray to God to give us inner strength. We should face the difficult times of our life courageously. Our attitude during troubled times reflects our mental being, how mentally healthy we are. When this shows whenever we are having difficult times in our life, how we are behaving. This shows our mental health. And our duty towards ourselves and to God, who has created us, is to overcome all the hurdles, all the difficulties, all the problems in life with strength and courage. So, children, this was your chapter, Our Duty Towards Ourselves. Thank you.